How's it going, everybody? MMA Lock of the Night here. Manpreet Jazz just reminding you guys that the tape index is available. Yes, we have the entire February schedule up for Bellator and UFC. So every time you want to sit down and get some researching done, just hit up the tape index and everything is a click away. Cut your browsing time way in half. Cut it down 95%. Everything is available. All you have to do is click tape index, bookmark that shit, and whenever you want to study, you're ready to go. We got everything from the regional fights all the way up to their UFC main events. Everywhere that we could possibly scour over the web, we've done it to find you all the fights that you need to make an educated guess and bet on who you think is going to win the upcoming matchup and how. So make sure you guys check that out. It's on MMAplay365.com. Spend more time studying and less time browsing.
It's not fun. You just want to kill yourself there.
Exactly. Like this stuff that I'm doing, it's if you think about it, it's kind of a job, but when you enjoy it,
but it's like you're supporting yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
So
it's a passion slash, it's just something that it doesn't feel like a job. Cody, I think it was Cody that said, it's like, when you do what you love, you don't work a day in your life. And it sounds so fucking cliche, but
my grandpa used to say that.
But there's no further truth in terms of when it comes to like career stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I love doing it, and I've been doing it for almost 2 years now. This is, as of this year, I started actually bringing in studio guests, which is where it's really started to like move forward. But like the past 2 years have just flown by because I just not really going autopilot, because that kind of insinuates that you're just, you're doing the bare minimum.
Right.
When you're like preparing yourself for the BTC cards and all this stuff, when you're researching these fighters or you're researching certain things, it is technically work, but you're not working because you're enjoying learning about Jasmine. You got to help me with her name.
Jazz Vicious?
Yes. I like to call her Vicious.
Yeah.
Ergis is actually the one that like put me on her first, right? I asked him, I'm like, who should I be looking out for? And she's the first name that he's, other than Adam Asenza, because he just works with him.
Yeah.
But Jazz was the first person that he's like, look out for this girl. And then a couple weeks later, she ended up fighting in CFFC.
Yeah, she fought last weekend in CFFC.
Yeah. So I actually watched her on the way here, like while I was on the GO train. I'm like, let me see what this chick's all about. And
she thinks that fight's like an audition for the Contender Series for this summer. So
that'd be
obviously
cool.
She passed with flying colors. So
yeah.
I think she's the best female 125er out there right now that isn't signed to a major promotion.
I'm like, whoa, that's a big statement.
That isn't a major sign to anyone. So I think.
So she's 4-0 now.
She's 4-0.
Yeah.
She just started pro last year too.
That's insane.
So she had 3 fights in 2019 and then just had that one now with CFFC for her first of
which is a good like platform for her as well, right? It's on Fight Pass, easily accessible. I'm sure it got a lot of eyeballs as well in terms of people that, or the hardcore fans that actually watch CFFC. But yeah, it is a good audition tape, like you're saying, for the Contender Series. So hopefully she's able to land that in the summer.
Yeah, I'm hoping she lands it.
Yeah. What team is she with?
So she trains at Niagara Top Team,
which is
in St. Catharines.
Which is a newer team, relatively,
it's a new
right?
gym. So Matt DiMarcantonio and Chris Prickett opened it last year, just before BTC 6. So just around June, end of May, beginning of June of last year.
Yeah.
And like they're just cranking out guys. Like it's the perfect gym too, because Matt's obviously had MMA experience as a jiu-jitsu guy.
Yeah.
And Chris Prickett's like came from a wrestling background, still coaches the guys at Brock, which is
that's cool.
Now like arguably the best wrestling program in all of Canada. They just won the OUAs last weekend in Guelph.
Sick.
So like you're meshing jiu-jitsu with wrestling. It's like you're just building killers right there.
I think they have a little bit of an agreement, or at least an unspoken agreement with Parabellum, right?
Yeah,
I think Rory does a lot of work with them.
They all cross-train there.
I find like everybody like east, like within Ontario, everybody, west of Toronto kind of just sticks together, like the Parabellum guys and the Niagara Top Team guys. Yeah. And then everybody west of Toronto kind of sticks together as well with like Bruckmans and those guys over there. How long have you been around the local MMA scene?
Honestly, it's only been like a couple years.
Yeah.
Like not even that long. Like I followed it a little bit. Like back in the score fighting series days and stuff like
those
that.
Days.
I think a lot of people do that have made it up there.
Yeah.
They miss it. Like, I mean, it was also on TV and had a huge platform too.
Yeah.
So and that's when MMA was just like booming. Like everyone was putting on a show.
Yeah.
It seemed like, especially when Ontario, when it was like just legal, everyone's like, we gotta do a show.
There were so many shows that popped up but then just went away.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? Like Score Fighting Series is unfortunate because Rogers bought them out and then they shut them down, right? But they put on like high quality shows, and I think they only had maybe 2 or 3 shows at the time that had made it onto Access TV, because that's when they signed the deal with them.
Yeah.
And then they got
Michael
the
Chiavello call the last 2.
Yeah, I remember that. That guy's awesome. I got to hang with him a little bit too. He's
a super nice guy.
Morrow did a couple of the shows as well.
Morrow did.
A couple of them
Cal was the ring announcer.
Ardo Cal was a beast back then too.
Like he was doing like a lot like what I'm doing now, like everything. Like he was doing stuff for OHL, AHL with the Marlies, and then that stuff, and
now he's doing esports.
Yeah,
he's killing it.
Guy,
I think he's down in Manhattan now or something, or New York
with ESPN. He just works for them. He's
it's freaking awesome for him, man. That's a guy I kind of like worked in tandem with during the Score Fighting Series days. Like me, him, Robin, the guy that ran it, Brendan Fife, and Woodrow James.
Yeah.
Fucking those guys are like the pioneers in terms of MMA in Ontario, especially with the fact that it only got legalized in 2011, right?
Yeah.
That's insane. I think there was another show before UFC 129 that actually were able to claim that they were the first ever MMA show on Ontario. Do you remember that? The Reckoning, I think it was called.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think maybe it was just after that show, but it was like one of those, and one of the producers I was working with at Rogers TV up in Waterloo was like, yeah, I'm working freelance on this. I thought it was so cool that he was working this, like, because I was a big fight fan, but he was like, yeah, I'm working the show, whatever, just getting freelance gig, and like, hey, whatever. But
what pushed you towards MMA? Like, did you start watching the UFC? How did you get into the combat sports world?
Well, combat sports has been like a big part of my life from early childhood. Like, I was a big wrestling fan growing up.
Me too.
You can tell
dude, I just I'm like, wait, is that Bret Hart?
Yeah.
Dude, my favorite, easily my favorite.
I think everyone's
him
favorite.
And Shawn Michaels, like top 2 for me.
Yeah, that's my childhood, right? Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Owen Hart, Razor Ramon, Diesel, all those guys. So, so I got into that. Like, I mean, they marketed it perfectly for kids. It came on like right after cartoons.
Yeah.
So it was like, like live action superheroes. So
and it was the closest thing to like rated R that we could potentially get to at that Attitude Era, right?
Yeah.
Like,
but like early 90s still. Like, it was just the perfect mesh for kids to follow through. Like, I just remember growing up, it was like I'd wake up, go to the farmer's market with my dad, like ride on the little motorcycles they had, jump into Bouncy Castle. He'd do his shopping. I'd get a gingerbread castle, watch like a gingerbread cookie. I'd come home, watch like Spider-Man and The Tick, and then wrestling was on.
The Tick, that's another classic right there.
So like the way I used to like not want to go, like, every kid never wants to go to sleep. So it was like my parents would be like, wrestling won't be on if you don't go to sleep, and I'd be like, I'm going to sleep now. I want to watch it. So yeah, I got into it through wrestling.
Yeah.
Like first WWF, and then my grandparents they lived in Jamaica, so they had a huge satellite dish. So that's where I got exposed to WCW early.
Ooh.
So I got into it pretty early there. But so I used to rent tapes, like wrestling tapes, at the video store.
Okay.
So I rented UFC 3 because they put it in the wrestling section by accident.
That's true. Okay.
So I thought, like, what a cool looking ring this is. Like, had no idea it was
UFC 3. Who the fuck was
so
on that
I remember
one?
Keith Hackney and Emmanuel Yarbrough, where Emmanuel Yarbrough got knocked out of the cage or out of the octagon at that point, and it's the one with Harold Hallard, Chemo, and
Steve Jenham. I remember that guy. He was like the late replacement for Hoist, right?
The only guy like not Hoist Gracie that won one of the UFC tournaments.
I think he was like a cop or something too, right? Yeah, that was his thing.
He was in like one of the Ultimates afterwards because they're like, you won a tournament, you may as well get on in.
You're in now. Let's see what his record. He ended 2-3. Fought Marcos Huas, who's a beast,
King of the Streets.
Exactly, that guy's a monster. And then Tank Abbott as well. That was the one after, I believe. Yeah, he fought UFC 4. I don't remember this guy, Milton Bowen. Beat him by armbar. Impressive to be pulling off jiu-jitsu and not be a Gracie back at UFC 4. And then lost to a submission neck crank to Tank Abbott. Literally the same night. Oh yeah, it was the same night tournament. What am I talking about? Duh.
Yeah, that was the ultimate, but it was like everyone really wanted Harold Hallard to win that one because he was from Niagara Falls.
Yep.
And so he's the only probably the first Canadian or one of the first Canadians to ever fight in the UFC. So
Keith Hackney was Canadian as well, right?
I thought he was an American.
Oh no, you're right. I think, I keep getting these guys fucking mixed up, dude. I don't know why the hell I thought this entire time that Harold was Keith Hackney.
No, they are not. They are not the same.
Keith Hackney's the one that was like going balls to the wall
UFC
with Joe
4,
Son, right?
Yeah. UFC 4, the next show, he ended up just assaulting Joe Son in the below the belt.
Yeah.
Which, years later, it was like, okay, we don't feel bad for Joe Son for his back.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Considering where the fuck that guy is now, right?
Yeah, that was the first show I ever saw.
Yeah.
Watched it like a couple times over. Still couldn't really grasp it, but realized like, oh, this is something cool. And like, little did I know it would be a huge part of my life going on. Like,
yeah.
I remember in high school.
Sorry. Do you remember roughly when this was that you actually rented it?
Yeah.
95. Yeah. Nice and early.
Yeah. Like I was a 5-year-old kid just renting wrestling tapes and like, oh, this is not wrestling, but it looked like it enough. Like, especially Chemo. Like Chemo came out with the cross,
the hood on and all that shit.
Everything like that. And like,
the towel.
You learn out later he had a shoot fight with Bam Bam Bigelow.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
Chemo won it. Apparently it was a work shoot to help build up Chemo.
Yeah.
But it was like, that's kind of cool. But yeah, like that's how I really got into it. My grandpa was a big boxing guy too.
Oh yeah.
So like when he'd talk about boxing, like I'd come watch or sit around and talk with him about it. Cause I mean, like the cool story he told me later on was like, Joe Frazier and George Foreman, when they fought in Kingston, Jamaica, he was there.
Oh shit.
So like to me that like one of the greatest fights in heavyweight boxing history.
And you got to witness
He got to be there and like, so to me that was really cool.
Yeah. It's funny how many people actually come over from. I'm one of those guys too. I came over from WWF. Yeah. I'm going to say the E because I think I stopped watching it around that time. But I came over with the Lesnar thing. Actually, you know what? It was probably WWE by that time.
Oh, it definitely was.
Yeah. Well, when Lesnar came over and fought Frank Mir, that was like my introduction to it. And then I'm like, shit, they do this stuff for real? Like I was all in. I dropped WWE probably immediately and just went straight over to the UFC. I was a huge basketball fan as well. Dropped that too, balls deep into UFC, just because I have such an admiration for somebody going in there and it's the most primitive and brutal. No, I hate using the word brutal. Like somebody on the outside looking in can say it's brutal. I understand where they're coming from, but I look at it more as a human chess match. The most primitive form that you could potentially do. Like you have everything stripped of you physically. You're wearing freaking boxers and then shorts, but like. You never want to be the kid at high school that got his ass whooped, right?
Yeah.
Like you never want to be that guy. But these guys are doing it in front of millions of people, but they are training themselves to actually go out there and try to get the victory. So I was just so enthralled by that. I was just like, damn, like this is fun to watch. I think Vanderlei Silva was like my first ever favorite fighter. Then Shogun came on the scene. Hence why I got that 113 poster. That was the first ever one I actually went to, was the one in Montreal. So where did it change from fan of the UFC and MMA to wanting to, because I know you do a bunch of play-by-play. I may or may not have craped your LinkedIn. It just I'd like to get a little bit of background on the people that I bring in. But it seems like you've been doing play-by-play for a long time. Was that your love from the get-go? Is like you want to do play-by-play or you want to do announcing and commentating?
Yeah, I was always a big sports guy.
Yeah.
Like a lot of kids were watching like Pokemon or stuff. I was watching TSN Sports Desk every morning, like waking up. So you'd hear all the announcers, or like I always wanted to do like host Sports Center or Sports Desk at the time. But I mean, the way things were kind of trending towards then, like the internet and social media was kind of taking over. Like you don't need someone to host those shows, especially if you need to just watch the highlights. Like, you can find them yourself. Like YouTube had kind of blown up a little bit at that point. So you were kind of transitioning away, and I was like, well, I still want to do sports, and I went to school at college for television broadcasting, and I really just got into it as well. And I never really thought I'd do play-by-play. So in my second year, we had to do a TV mobile production.
Okay.
So it was men's and women's hockey both. One was Waterloo versus Laurier, which is obviously a big rivalry game for anything. But I did the women's game, which was U of T versus Laurier.
Okay.
And I remember our teacher like, "Are you sure you can do this? Like, it's a lot of talking." And
this was your first foray into it.
First time ever doing it. But I was like, you watch it so much, it's kind of like second nature.
Yeah.
So like we had a horrendous like setup and everything. And I remember just getting into the flow and like calling it. And it was like the first time I've ever taken an energy drink. I remember like it kicked in with like 5 minutes left in the third and standing up and just being like, boom, boom, this player, that player. So I was always into that. And then I think one of the biggest things for me, always wanted to do MMA was Mauro Ranallo. So
Beast.
like,
Love him.
I love
Love
Mauro.
him.
So when I was about 17, when Sirius XM really kind of launched in Canada, so Hardcore Sports Radio had come on, which was a part of the Score. And I always wanted to work at the Score. Unfortunately, that's no longer an option.
Unless you want to do mobile.
Yeah, exactly, right? But they had the Fight Network Radio, which was from 3 to 4, and it was Mauro and John Pollock, and like John would fill in on occasion. But Mauro was obviously the voice of it, and he'd break down all the news, and not just MMA, wrestling, but boxing. But like he really transitioned me over to watch Elite XC because he was one of the voices for Elite XC. I had the Fight Network. Like I remember him talking about this Kimbo Slice guy.
Yeah.
So Kimbo had just fought Bo Cantrell.
Okay.
And this was the end of 2007. First time I remember seeing Nick Diaz when he lost to KJ Noons.
Ooh, good fight. That was a good fight.
When he was really upset about and whatever. Yeah. So then it went to Kimbo versus Tank Abbott. So I remember Tank from those early UFC
3
days,
and 4 and all
that. But that card, I think it was Street Certified. It was in Miami. Was like one of my favorite cards to watch because it was like you heard Moro's style of voice.
Yeah.
Yves Edwards knocked out Edson Berto with like this flying knee with like a second or so left in the first round.
Yeah.
Where he just like threw one up and knocked him out.
This Renegade or Street Certified?
Street Certified.
Yeah. Let's see this. Who's on this fucking card? And it's a Bigfoot Silver against Rico Rodriguez.
Yep.
Scott Smith against Kyle Noak, Yves Edwards against James Berto, like you're saying. Brett Rogers against James Thompson, the Colossus.
And
James
Brett
Thompson.
Rogers was there, like trying to build up for that Kimbo Slice. Eventually, you kind of saw it. I think they got into an altercation post fight, either that one or when. Actually, it was the Elite XC show, Elite XC Prime Time.
Right
the
after
first
that.
one on
that
CBS.
Was the next one. Yeah.
Where James Thompson ended up fighting him under those suspicious with the big
ear. Yeah.
So, I mean, Elite XC to me was like, I always thought MMA was gonna MMA just lost pride at this point, right? Like UFC just bought them, so I was like, well, they need some sort of competition for the UFC. Always thought it was gonna be Elite XC. They had the production values. They had this deal with CBS and Showtime. They had good level fighters.
They had all the ingredients.
They had a unique star in Kimbo, which obviously turned out don't make your promotion based on a guy that can barely fight. But they had the women's MMA, which was UFC was never going to touch. Gina Carano was in there. A lot of uniqueness to them. And I just thought, Mauro doing it as well was a guy you could see do that, comes back on your Monday and he's doing his radio show. And I thought this is perfect.
Did you find out about Elite XC through Mauro?
Yeah, pretty much. Mauro was my connection into Elite XC.
When you rented UFC 3 back, and just backtracking a little bit, when you rented UFC 3 back in the day in 95, did you follow it did you religiously follow it after that?
Not religiously after that, because obviously it was really hard to get a hold of the blackout era happened and all that. But it was pretty much like the Ultimate Fighter got me back into it because I started high school right when Tough One happened, and it was like reality TV was so popular, and that was a fighting show on reality TV that wasn't corny, because there was the Contender show that they did for boxing on NBC, but it was really kind of corny. Some good fighters came out of it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but I never heard of that show actually. That was probably before my time.
It was with Sugar Ray Leonard and Sylvester Stallone did it. So they had big names behind it. Ishe Smith came out of it. Okay. That was to me one of the more good fighters, but it was it
was lacking the talent.
It lacked something to me, honestly. This one just seemed real. How they shot it, it was bare bones, and the whole point was that they were looking for good fighters too. They needed to sell TV, they paid for it themselves, but they needed good fighters. And I just remember everyone talking about, you see the Ultimate Fighter? Do you see the Ultimate Fighter? The tone was changing from talking about wrestling to MMA, and so I was really getting back into MMA at that point, and then pretty much just followed on through.
I wish I was into it back then. I never really heard about it much. One thing I would always listen to is live audio wrestling back in the day. John Pollock, Jason Agnew, that was my shit. My brother was really into it. Dan Lebransky, yes, that guy's a beast too.
I met Dan Lebransky.
So they would gloss over MMA a little bit during their shows.
Yep.
Right? The names I would mainly hear, Sean Shirk, BJ Penn, Matt Hughes, GSP. Never really took into consideration how big they actually were. Obviously, Chuck Liddell, Tito Ortiz as well. But I never really followed through and be okay, what is this that they keep talking about? But then again, like I said, it was Lesnar that brought me over. And then I think one of the first events that I actually watched the whole main card of was when Rampage knocked out Vanderlei.
Yeah. UFC
There's a
82?
big card. That was a big card.
It was the Starcade card. That's what they called it.
The Starcade card.
It's UFC 82. No, not
Was it
82.
82?
92. 92.
90? What? No, I feel like are you sure it was 92?
I think it's 92.
Yeah, you're right. That's the first full like main card that I watched because it was actually on at the Boston Pizza that I went to. This was it was a December card, right? Yeah, December 27th. I remember. After that, I'm like, all right, I got to catch every single fight from now on. I actually had to go back, watch the Pride fights and all that stuff because then I started hearing about Pride and how I missed that freaking wave. You kind of got lucky where people were actually talking about it around you, whereas me, it was mainly just through live audio wrestling that I was hearing about it. None of my friends were really into it. None of them really knew about it. But I wish I was on board back then. Like Cody's the same thing. He was on an 06 during fucking... what's the team-based one?
Oh, IFL.
IFL. He was on that one, or not on that one, but he was like really following that one too. Dude, Mustafa Al-Turk, that name just makes me laugh looking at it now.
That fight was pretty much like
eye poke.
It was boring. Yeah, it was like, and then like Congo got hit in the nuts, and he was like, "Nah, we're not gonna play that anymore." He finished him.
Yeah,
that was probably the best countdown show they ever put together.
Well, just look at the names they had, though.
Just on Rampage and Vanderlei alone,
and that was a second fight on the main card. Yeah. Holy shit, dude. They actually...
I can't believe CB Dalloway got higher ranking than Quentin Rampage and Vanderlei Simba.
The funny thing is how we're doing... they're kind of doing that in the last two pay-per-views that we just had, or are going to have. 246, they had the Maurice Green and Alexei Olenek fight in the middle of the main card. Now we got Juan Adams against fucking Justin Taffa in the middle of the main card. So maybe it's like a formula that they know that's been tried and true. Maybe that's the piss break fight.
Probably
the smoke break fight.
Probably what they need. I mean, though the heavyweights with Taffa and Adams, like that can be over quick and exciting.
It could be sloppy as fuck, or it could be quick and fun.
Sloppy as fuck and awesome, or sloppy as fuck and awful. Because heavyweight MMA is a gamble every time.
Dude, remember Frank Mir and Crow Cop?
Oh, yes.
Unfortunately.
That was the first one I was like doing podcasts for about. So I did like a preview for that card. And honestly, I don't remember anything other than like the knee from Mir and Sean McCorkle beating up Mark Hunt.
Kimura, no. Did he Kimura him?
It was I think it was a chokeout or it was a Kimura. Yeah,
it was a Kimura, or a key lock or something like that. It was something weird. I think I'm pretty certain, if I'm not wrong, the co-main event of that was Sean Strick against Evan Dunham.
It could be.
UFC 119. Oh, Ryan Bader against Lonog. What am I talking about? Sean Strick and Dunham did fight on that card, though. And Melvin Gillard and Jeremy Stevens. What a sad case with Melvin Gillard, too, though. All the potential in the world, and then just...
Always got, like, right there on the verge of that title shot, and then would get blown away.
Like, he even beat Jeremy Stevens, right? Matt Mitrione on the undercard, Sean McCorkle and Mark Hunt, like you're saying. TJ Grant, another unfortunate case. He was almost had that title shot. Remember, he had the title shot booked, and then he had to pull out.
He's still waiting on that title shot, I think, right now for the welterweight title.
I wish we had a little... Oh, my God. Look at that run right there for Melvin Gillard. Oh!
He was a big signing for Bellator and just one of the many UFC guys that just came to Bellator and never delivered.
He was the one propping these guys to come up to the UFC. Muslim Salikov, Israel Adesanya. And then lost to Takanori Gomi in 2018. Are you kidding me?
In Ryzen, too.
In Ryzen. And then he lost to a guy named Terry House Jr. And actually not that long ago.
In October.
4 months ago, not even. Holy shit, he's still kicking around at welterweight.
Yeah, former lightweight, like near contender, right?
Yeah, he was, like you said, he was always just there, but just never pushed through. Let's get to BTC.
Yeah.
How long have you been with them? How long have you been working with them?
So June will be 1 year. So just short of 1 year right now. But I've been following them pretty much since BTC 3. So I've covered BTC 3, did some interviews backstage, and then pretty much I've been to every card. Missed 4 because it was in Peterborough. Didn't go to that. Couldn't make the trek to that one, and then have covered every card, either covered and then called every card from BT6 on.
Damn. That's a lot of experience right there.
Yeah, well, I mean...
I love how many shows they're actually pumping out, though. Because that's one thing that's been hard in the Ontario MMA scene is the consistency of these shows. And building that following where people will consistently come out to the shows. Like United Boxing. They have a great formula. Like, they have decent production. They have a decent, like, setup. And then they have a diehard fan base that always comes out to these shows, even if they don't know who the fighters are, right?
And they usually have the same fighters on those cards, right?
Exactly.
Too, so you know.
But with BTC, I like that they're actually taking it all over the GTA and the Ontario region. Like they've done, like you said, Peterborough, Kitchener,
They're
London.
doing Kitchener. They've done Toronto, Oakville, Burlington is their home base, so they'll run a show pretty much every year in Burlington. Peterborough, Windsor was a huge success for them.
Oh wow!
And then
they must have had the Laramie boys on that for that one.
No, they actually had them. Or they had Tony or TJ. Yeah. They had TJ, but his opponent got hurt and he pulled out the same. But they had Kyle Prepluck on there as the main event, and that's when he fought Cody Pfister, who took that fight on like 2 days' notice.
Jeez,
and like got everything passed to fight like through the commission here, which is like
the worst.
When they come, like the American fighter, they're like, this is like insane how hard it is. Not that I want to say the commission's the worst. It's made a lot of improvements from when MMA got legalized back in 2012 here. 2011. Yeah. When it's made lots of leaps and bounds. Like before, it was pretty much like, okay, we're just gonna do MMA because it's now legal, but they had no real interest for MMA. Now they're like, okay, let's work with the promoters, let's work with the promotions to make MMA a success and a safe success as well.
I think it was more so the changing of the guard in terms of who's running it.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing for me. Yeah,
because that was like when I was working with the regional shows back then. The main hiccup always was the commissioner. Like he would say, two guys aren't worthy of fighting each other because one guy just, like, perfect example, Chris Kalidas and Adrian Woolley tried setting that fight up on one of our SEC shows. The guy's like, it's not going to work. Kalidas doesn't have enough experience. Woolley, I think, was like 6-0 at the time. Kalidas was 4-0. But then he looked at Kalidas' opponents who were like 0-1 or 1-3 or something like that. And he goes, oh, these guys aren't, to the level of Adrian Woolley. So I think that Kalidas is going to go in there and get smoked. They end up setting that fight up for Bellator that happened in Ontario, and Cody goes out there and finishes Woolley.
Yeah. I mean, they just weren't really like.
I think the commissioner now is much more in tune, right?
They want to work with. The promotions want to work with him, and he wants to work with them. That's a healthy blending of MMA, and I think that's a good positive for everyone as a whole right now.
For sure,
because right now, like MMA is really booming in this province. Like you not only have BTC, but you have the PFC. They're running some shows as well. They're running all over Ontario, and there's hopefully UFC will come back. I think they will this year for sure. They
should, yeah. They usually skip like 1 year and then come back.
They'll come back to Toronto, and hopefully they can maybe run like a fight night in one of the smaller towns.
Yeah.
Even though I've heard like Winnipeg's a must destination for them in Canada, but I would hope that they'd come run like a small town, like I think Kitchener would be a perfect location for a fight night card or something like that. I
think they would do like. Windsor is probably one of them. Ottawa, they've already done a couple times as a fight night.
There's just so many places they haven't experienced yet that I think would be cool to experience to get some new fans in there, because UFC as a name sells.
Yeah.
And the sports fan will just go to check it out and say, I went and saw MMA or fights or what have you. That's a lot of the selling too in some of these markets is, hey, there's fights.
That's there was an initial boom when it got legalized.
Yeah.
And then there was a little bit of a drop off. And then it's starting to boom again. And I think that boom is coming from, like I said, the changing of the guard with the commissioner. I'm not sure exactly when that change happened because I kind of stepped away from the regional scene after SEC2. Yeah. But then I slowly started getting back into it. I think the only BTC show I've been to two. There's one in Burlington. I think Scott Hudson fought that night. Forgot who Adam Senza fought that night. I can't remember exactly which card it was. And then they had one at the convention center in Toronto as well too.
Yeah, that was
BTC 3.
I think that was their first or second show. The first one was actually in the convention center. That was BTC 1
at Toronto Convention Center, Metro Convention Center. Right? That was number 1.
That was the first one.
Jeez, that's when we had. I'm from Grants, and those are the guys that I kind of like stick close to as much as possible. We had Todd fighting Matt Van Buren that night.
Yep.
Anastasia Nikolakakos was fighting that night too. I think she fought for BTC a couple times as well. I love the main reason I want to see MMA explode a little bit more in Ontario is so that we can get more talent go over to the big shows.
Yeah.
We're the grassroots. This is where it starts, right? There's not a lot of Canadian talent that is coming out there. Louis Jourdain is fun to watch now. He got that big one over Du Ho Choi. TJ Laramie is another guy. I think he's going to have some success too. He has no, he doesn't have a fight. His brother has a fight coming up for PFC, right? It's interesting that you guys are doing shows like 2 weeks apart. Well, one's in Kitchener, one's in Toronto.
Yeah.
I'm more than likely going to be at both now because I'm trying to like get back into it as much as possible. Who do you think I haven't heard of yet, or most people haven't heard of yet, that's been on the last couple BTC shows that they should be looking out for?
I think for sure who fought on our BTC 7 card, Siri Seedy, he's fighting Matteo Vogel in Kitchener. Siri is an unbelievable talent. Like I called the first MMA show I ever called was an amateur show in Brantford for the Rec MMA promotion.
Ooh,
and
Rec MMA. That's a throwback.
Yeah, so I remember just like, one of the things you always want to call in a fight is like an amazing knockout. So at the amateur level, like, okay, it's normally like one guy's going to take you down, ground and pound you. That's the fight. Or it's going to be just two guys that really don't know what they're doing and what have you. So Siri, his opponent is warming up in the cage and he tells me, hey man, our fight's going to be fight of the night. And I'm like, okay, great. Like I'm happy that you're that confident. So this is a guy that's training in his garage versus Siri, who trains.
Which one is this? The Avinash fight?
No, it's an amateur fight. I don't think it's ranked. There it is, the Adrian Tessarola fight.
Okay.
So his opponent, Adrian Tessarola, super nice guy. Anyways, he's like, my fight's gonna be fight of the night. And like this, Adrian was training like in his garage, basically with two buddies, whereas Siri's training at Parabellum with Lyndon Whitlock and Rory legit murderers of MMA. So Siri's busting this guy up with leg kicks, and I'm
43 seconds, dude.
I think it went a little longer than that. I think that time is wrong.
Okay.
I think that was 43 seconds of like the second or third round.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, amateur coverage, what have you. But nonetheless, so this leg kick's like damaging Tessarola. And I was calling the fights with Josh Hill, and he's like, yeah, that head kick's looking there. And Siri just unloads this head kick, and this Tessarola just drops right in front of us. I leapt out of like, oh my God, the head kick. This is unbelievable. And I've never seen that much violence to my face like that. So he did the same thing at BTC 7, against Kevin Popowick-Bastine. Where Kevin was making his pro debut against, a real tough guy that Siri is. Like, he's really good on the feet. He's got an underrated ground game.
Yeah.
Kevin clipped Siri a couple times, and he heard him. Siri's backing up, and Kevin got a little too over anxious. And Siri, like a golfer that knows what club to do, just pulled this head kick out, and Kevin dropped back and just butted up, bloodied up, and just nasty. And then they just stopped it right there. But Siri's someone that's really, really that you need to look out for.
4-0.
4-0. He's so young too, just 23 years old.
He's training at Parabellum,
BTC,
nice.
Mixing it up with a lot of talent as well. This is a kid that. It's not so much what he does, fighting. His fighting skills are unbelievable, but just talking to him, he's 23, but he talks with a mentality of a 33 or a 43-year-old. He's got that tunnel vision. He knows the right decisions to make. He reads a lot. Mm-hmm. He gets himself mentally prepared. And to me, for the fight game, that's such an important aspect that a lot of people don't figure out until they're in their 30s.
Mm-hmm. One thing, just a quick sidetrack. Are they going with BTC as Burlington Training Center Promotions?
It's just BTC Fight Promotions.
BTC, but there is no...
No, it's just BTC
Fight Promotions. That's what I was trying to figure out at first. When I was trying to explain it to somebody, I'm like, BTC stands for this, but normally it's Burlington Training Center. The rest of the card actually looks pretty good, man. Jesse Ronson... Everybody, a lot of people know about him. Troy Lamson is a guy that's I've heard about a little bit and seen during tape study for other fights. I think he beat somebody Robert Hale in his second last fight. Yeah, Robert Hale. I know about him just through friends and all that. But he lost to Alex Munoz last time around. Jesse Ronson though, he's fought for you guys before too, right?
No, this is his first fight with BTC.
Oh, he fought for PFC, I guess.
He fought for them. Yes, he fought for them. As well. Long before he had gone back to the UFC runs, I think, if I'm just looking at his record, or TKO, I should say.
Yeah, TKO.
Before he went to TKO, and then eventually with the PFL. So Jesse's a huge get. Obviously, the talent he brings to the table. But I mean, he's from London, and this is the closest I think a lot of people from London will get the chance to see him fight. Jesse's obviously hoping to have a great 2020. His 2019 didn't go his way. He got, screwed over a couple times, once by the Quebec Commission, where he got his fight pulled with that skin infection, which
he was supposed to step in for Diego Ferreira, right?
He was gonna, he was
against.
That was before that too. That was the year before. He was supposed to, and they asked him to take this fight and cut so much weight, and then he's like, I can't, and they were like, oh well, you're just dead to us. Then.
It was so weird that they said that he was replacing him, and then let him go 2 days later or some shit like that.
Yeah, which was awful. And then he tries to come back and has some issues. Like he had a skin infection, and they just pulled him from his fight, like the day of the fight.
Oh yes,
TKO.
I do remember that against Charles Jourdain. He's supposed to fight. Yes,
that was supposed to be a huge.
I do remember that
champ type fight.
Yeah. That was massive.
And then he hit that Carlos Silva fight. So he signs with the PFL. Silva misses weight, and at the PFL, if you miss weight, you get 3 walkover points. And then he's like, "Where's my walkover points?" They're like, "Oh, we're not doing that with you." Whereas if you look in that tournament, Ramsey Ninjim, he never fought in the qualifying. His opponent missed weight once, and he missed weight once. So he got 3 points, and so, like it worked out where he got the last seed into the playoffs. Natan Schultz finished him in the first round of their fight, but Jesse got screwed for that. And they're also like, "Oh, by the way, you're fighting our former champion." And I think Jesse fought anyone that fought Natan Schultz this year the toughest. Like Jesse hurt Natan a couple times in that fight with some good body shots. Yeah, it's just Natan's grappling is just so
next
much.
Level.
And then they promised him like a good performance. You're gonna come back. And then when I spoke with Jesse, he's like, his management team had to call the PFL. Like, what about this deal you said? Like they forgot about him. Which is like, how do you forget about someone that's like always gonna be that in your face, high intensity?
He's fun to watch.
He's exactly.
One of my favorite fights I've ever seen live is him against Ryan Healy.
Yeah, one
of the funnest fights ever at Score Fighting Series. That was insane. It's kind of shitty that they screwed him over, especially with the Nijim thing. I think they were just going with like the name value at that point, which is unfortunate.
I mean, right? It could be that, but like. You've set a precedent. Like if your opponent misses weight, you get walkover points.
Exactly.
And then just because you're towards the end of the season, like he doesn't get the walkover points, like that doesn't make any sense.
And then you put him in there with fucking Schultz, who's like one of the best guys in the PFL currently.
Back-to-back lightweight champion winner for them, right? So
yeah, he did win the season
this past year. Yeah. So like that was unfair. So I think we're gonna see a real good fight against Troy Lampson, who, former Michigan State wrestler. So that Big Ten wrestling is huge. So it's a striker versus grappler type of fight. I'm excited for it. I mean, and Troy's from Michigan, so Michigan isn't that far from Ontario. No. You bring a lot of those fan bases.
That's one thing that I noticed with like regional events. We would always have guys from Michigan come over. Yeah, always.
Michigan isn't that far. So.
Yeah, Tony Hervey was one of them as well. I think he was from Michigan. I can't remember some of the other names. I love the fact that we are at BTC 9 and that we're at PFC 13. That just shows us that it's finally working in Ontario. I don't know if we'll get other promotions that try to step up and try to burst onto the scene. I think that BTC and PFC is more so in like the London region as well, right?
Yeah, London.
Well, they're doing a Toronto show in a couple weeks, but I think most of those guys are based out of London, right?
Like that type of area.
And then BTC is obviously more so Burlington. I've talked with Rob a little bit, Vivers. He's told me a little bit of the plans for 2020, and I'm excited for what you guys have to come. In terms of the end of 2020, where do you want to kind of like see BTC? Like, do you personally have goals for them? Like, I'm not sure how involved you are with the planning process, or if it just stops at, I come do play-by-play and I'm out.
I do a lot of like their video stuff for them to like announce the fights and stuff, and I make it a priority because like I do a lot of broadcasting stuff, but like the MMA and BTC is like easily one of my top priorities that I make time for them. And if they ask me to come to Burlington, it's not a bad drive from Kitchener, so I can make the trek out there to come help them out. Honestly, I think the thing when you look at especially now, like Fight Pass is relaunched. They have some good promotions in the States. Like obviously LFA was a big get for them. Yeah. CFFC, which we talked about, is massive. Huge. Is a good promotion out in the New Jersey area. Yeah. But I think like a Fight Pass need some talent from Canada. Like we don't really know about TKO. They say they're back.
I don't think they're.
I don't know if they say they are, but I don't believe it as well.
Wait. Back as in back.
They're gonna be running a show. The show that they canceled 3 times last year. Yeah. They're gonna run it again. Like it's gonna be back. Don't worry.
So within the last month, you're saying you heard of TKO possibly coming back?
They have themselves put out that they put press release like we've refunded people the tickets. If you haven't got your refund, you can get it. But we're coming back. They keep saying this, but I haven't seen much. Like I talked to Zach Powell before his just a couple weeks ago, and like he's fighting on that PFC card, and he's like, I hadn't heard until yesterday that they were coming back. Like I thought they were dead. That's why he was like looking at these Ontario promotions.
The shitty part about TKO though is the exclusivity agreement that they try to sign these guys to. Come on.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that this is a stepping stone promotion. Like I'm not trying to say it to downplay these guys, but everybody's trying to get to Bellator. Everybody's trying to get to the UFC. Everybody's trying to get to even Risen, ONE FC even, right? Those are the top 4 promotions that people are trying to get to, mainly to the UFC, let's be honest. Like Jesse Arnett got fucked. I still feel bad for him, man. Like, that's one of the guys I've been telling everybody, I'm like, look out for this cat. Look out for the, no pun intended,
big
but
cat.
Look out for this cat. You know what I mean? Like, look out for him. He's going to be fucking sick. And then I think he loses to, he lost the belt to Nate Maness, right? And then he loses by knockout to Josh Hill.
Yeah.
You know, and now he's setting himself back. I think he's fighting this weekend, actually.
He's fighting out east,
for FLA, Fight League Atlantic, I think it is. Hopefully they're able to take off as well. I was able to talk to the owner of those guys. I wish some of them were in Toronto because I would have them in for the show as well. But I love that East Coast MMA is finally starting to pick up in Canada because West Coast has been killing it for a while now. Mm-hmm. You got Battlefield Fight League, you got Unified as well. I don't know where Hard Knocks is, but they were a staple as well. Z Promotions still runs events. They call it Fight Night, which is weird.
They're running a show in Hamilton too in May.
Z?
Yeah.
All right.
See,
I'm
they're coming
totally going to be there for that.
They've announced like 2 shows. They've announced that Hamilton show and then a show after that back in Alberta.
Yeah.
I think it's obviously Lethbridge. I don't think it's Medicine Hat. That's where it's going to be. Okay. But I'm just saying they've announced 2 shows already. Like that's good, healthy progress.
Have they announced a venue for the Hamilton one? Do you know about that?
It is in... they have announced it. I forget it off the top of my head, but it's announced for Hamilton.
I want to see if I can pull up something for that because this is actually the first I'm hearing about that. I thought they were strictly a West Coast promotion.
Yeah. No, they're running this show in Hamilton, which I'm like, good for them.
Winona Vine Estates.
Yeah, that's where it's going to be.
Where the hell is that?
Winona Vine Estates, man.
April 6th. Oh, no, wait.
They plan to run one there, but that's the venue they're running.
Oh, okay.
That's the venue
so yeah, that's 2019. So that's later.
But yeah, they're running there.
Good for them.
So that's a third party in the mix in Ontario.
It seems that they have some money behind them too, because they're able to get some pretty decent names on their shows.
They're on both Fight and the Fight Network. So they have that exposure and definitely some sort of money behind them.
Yeah, you got Chris Curtis who won the title out there.
The shortest retirement in MMA history. Like
the 1 hour retirement.
The 1 hour retirement, and then like I'm done after he got knocked out bad.
I think they had Joe Riggs fight for them a couple times as well. Dennis Purick is another guy that I haven't heard about in a while too, but he was a beast. He beat Terry on Ware that night. Not bad. Yeah. Shane Campbell, Josh Hill fought for them as well. Not bad. What the hell is Josh Hill up to?
He just signed with Bellator.
Oh, yes. Yes, I did see that actually.
He's waiting. He has a fight, but I know he's waiting for it to be announced. So
I won't pry. Don't worry. They for sure have an opponent though.
Yeah.
Do they have a date?
I believe so. I don't want to get in that.
I'm sorry.
I don't want to spoil anything for him. I know he's trying to get it, but like he does have a fight.
Good for him.
I'm happy. I mean, like talk about a guy that's beyond deserving to get a major promotion behind him.
And been around. You know what I mean? Like he's been around. When we were doing the Score Fighting shows, he was our main ticket. Like he was the main ticket seller.
Yeah.
Him and Alex Ricci.
Yeah.
Those guys like sold tickets like hotcakes because they had such a like big fan base behind them. Right?
Yeah. Josh is obviously super talented and he's just grown as well. Like normally known for his wrestling ability to just dominate you with just wear you out, but like his striking's really grown.
It's getting better.
Especially that Jesse Arnett finish.
I was surprised.
Unbelievable.
I was like, holy shit. Did he just knock out Jesse Arnett? That was insane. It's unfortunate that he caught all that slack from the UFC during his like tough run.
Yeah.
Very unwarranted, you know what I mean? Like very biased back then, but 17-3, 18-3 now, if I'm not mistaken, right? Very amazing record. Only losses are Taylor Lapilus, Marlon Moraes,
and
twice.
A lot of people thought the first Moraes fight he won too. Mm-hmm. So like the second one, obviously he lost that one. But I thought he won that Lapilus fight. Like I thought he won that on the scorecards. It was a split decision, but I mean when the fight goes to the judges, anything can happen, right?
Yeah, exactly. That was a split decision. Was that for a title?
No, it was
that wasn't for a title. That was a 3-rounder, right?
Yeah.
The Laramie boys. They've been like I've been hearing about them since they were like 13, 14 years old. They've been killing it down in Windsor. I think they're still with Rhino. What's his name? The guy down in MTC. I think their name is MTC, right? They've been making a lot of progression. And when I look at their record, I'm like, holy shit! Like they've already fought. Like what's TJ's record now? He has over like 12 or 13 fights now,
I
right?
don't know off the top of my head, but he's definitely someone for sure to look at.
11-3.
11-3. Yeah.
Jesus, on a 3-fight winning streak. Alex Morgan, he's just not able to get past, right? Like that's what Uriah Faber with Mike Brown, just not able to get past that guy, whatever it is. I think one of those was actually a very quick stoppage as well, if I'm not mistaken.
The second Alex Morgan one was like not even a broadcast TKO show. It was only it was like a blackout.
Ergis fought on that card too.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, it was a blackout card, which I remember like someone was covering it, and I was like, "Thanks for the updates." But you're a major promotion and you're not streaming your show.
I get that it's a fight night card, but still, you got Alex Morgan against TJ Laramie. You got Charles Jourdain who fought in the co-main event there. Malcolm Gordon, another guy against James Mancini, who was highly touted at the time as well. I think there was another. Cyril Gane was on that fight too.
His first MMA pro fight
for a title.
For the title
against Bobby Sullivan. Yeah, man, Tariq Ismail is another guy that people should be looking out for. Not the biggest fan of him, to be honest, but Ergis Segura, like I love this kid so much. That's why I had him on as like my second ever guest. 4-0, didn't fight at all in 2019. Secured a BJJ gold at the IBJJFs, which is amazing too. So again, like let's get back to BTC in terms of the end of 2020. We're gonna run. I'm not gonna say how many shows, but is there a certain goal? Like you alluded to the fact that Fight Pass is kind of missing something, right?
Like Fight Pass or a DAZN or something. Like they need that talent level on there. I think. The production values that BTC is using have improved so much. The fight quality is out like on par with like a UFC Fight Night card.
Yeah.
Like there's insane talent and people need to see what's going on. Like that's like we live in the internet age where you can see what's going on in Brazil, Japan, and you see what's going on in Canada. Like it kind of gets treated like the redheaded stepchild compared to like the US MMA scene. But the Canadian MMA scene is really good. And I think it's at maybe the best it's been since the legalization of the sport.
I'd have to agree with that. Just because again, the consistency of shows that are actually out there. I love the fact that you guys actually put all your fights on YouTube.
Yeah.
Amazing.
That's like
I don't know why more promotions don't do that. Unified, they try to charge you for it. Like, I get the day of the event, pay-per-view, cool. I'll chop you off $20 to watch this fight live. I'm totally fine with that. Afterwards, why are you still charging for the fights and archiving them? I don't understand that train of thought.
I would wonder if that's a deal with like Fight because they are on Fight
TV.
Fight TV, the streaming service. I wonder if that has something to do with it. Whereas BTC, they hire a production company and they own all the footage. So hey, we'll just upload the fights afterwards, and they do a pretty quick turnaround too,
which is great.
Which is what you want, right? So I mean that's a great thing. But yeah, I think more people do need to put all their cards or up there or some sort of thing. Maybe not everything, but like the fights you need to see for sure.
For sure. In terms of live viewing, though, like if you're not able to actually make it to the card, do you guys have live viewing? You guys do Fight TV?
We stream. They stream themselves, so you can normally been able to purchase them on the website, and the price for them is like just been $5.
Oh, like that's easy. Like, that's nothing.
Simple, and you can rewatch it again afterwards for however long they keep it up. That link up available, and then you just know they'll come up on YouTube. So.
I think we did that for SCC too, where we had a company come in and they actually broadcasted it live for us. It obviously didn't do the best, but like you still want to be able to make money if you're able to do in that aspect. Do you see any time? I'm not trying to start a BTC versus PFC war. We're all in this together. The end game for everybody is to get these fighters to the next level.
Yeah.
Right. Where the grassroots, where the NCAA is what I like to call it. Where the grassroots promotion for these guys. Do you see any type of separation between the two companies? Like I'm not saying like there's a rivalry or anything like that, but is there anything that sets BTC apart from PFC or PFC apart from BTC?
I mean, I just think
I'm not trying to start shit. That is not what I'm trying at all.
I'm not saying you are or anything. I don't think there is like a rivalry. It's like PFC's doing their thing, BTC's doing their thing. It's just more an extra platform for a fighter that wants to, fight in his own province and get his friends and family out there. Like, there's no real beef between either promotion, and I think that's good. Like, they support each other. They like each other's posts on social media and whatever.
That's perfect.
Which is what you need. Like, if you're out there bashing each other, it doesn't look good, and it's not good for a sport that's needed to grow up in this province as a whole, that's had its own issues, getting legalized, then having all the issues with it being legalized, commissions and stuff like that. So I think everyone working together has been pretty much a solid thing. Like, as you see, Chris Allard, he's fought many times for both PFC and BTC. He's fighting for us again in Kitchener on the February 29th. So like, there's no negativity between the two. Perfect. And I think that's great. I mean, they run shows pretty close together. I don't know if that in the long term hurts both of them, because if you have to pick one, if you want to make the trek
I wish it was a little bit more spread out. Like, we got BTC February 29th, and I think literally the next week
March 8th, yeah.
Yeah, March 7th or March 8th, whatever the Saturday is there, right?
It's a Sunday card for PFC.
Sunday card.
Yeah, it's a 4:00 start for them.
At least they're doing it early, which is not too bad.
Yeah.
But Sunday's a little bit sketchy. I like the venue. Rebel sounds like a cool venue to host fights in. I wouldn't mind checking that out. I did see the pictures for the Odd in Kitchener. Yeah. And it seems that, I'm sure you've called plenty of games. Is that where the OHL plays?
Yeah, that's where the Rangers play.
The Rangers. It seems like a great venue to hold something like that. When we were doing SEC2, when we were actually trying to figure out the logistics aspect of that, we were trying to get the what's the Ryerson?
Oh, the Mattamy now.
Yes, the Mattamy Home
Gardens,
Center.
But it's now it's now.
And we were trying to, we were gonna like push. Formerly Maple Leafs Gardens, whatever the fuck it was called. We were so excited, like we were close to like nailing down that deal. But then the unions, they charged way too much for the bare bones production that we were trying to put on at the time, right? That would have been a great get, in my opinion. Like, just the venue in itself is almost a selling point, right? It would have been great. But then we ended up doing something in, I think it was North York or something like that. What else can you tell me about BTC though? Like, I want to give these guys as much shine as possible, because we need MMA to thrive a little bit more in Ontario. We need the series cities to make it to the UFC. We need, where exactly is he from? Burlington?
He's a Burlington
guy. We need Burlington on the map. Yeah. You know what I mean? We need Toronto on the map. We need Brampton on the map. Like, I can't think of anybody that's really made it from the GTA that we can say is like, all right, this is our MMA guy. You know what I mean? The closest thing we have, Jesse Ronson's a London guy. Like, I'm trying to talk about like Toronto, GTA, close by.
Well, Matt Special also fights for BTC. He's an up-and-coming lightweight guy. He trains with Bazooka Joe. Nice. Bazooka Joe Veltlin. He's from Brampton. So he's...
Shout out.
So he's been really, rising. Like, he fought on our last card in Niagara at BTC 8 against a guy. He wanted a tougher opponent. Fought a guy that was 6-7 coming into, so that's 13 pro fights experience when you're a 4 or 5-0 type of guy. Like, you're really wanting to take that next level up, and I respect that. Like, you can't just be fighting guys that are around the same level. If you want to really test yourself, that's there. And Matt's definitely an unbelievable fighter, has a ton of kickboxing experience before transitioning full-time to MMA, and MMA is now his like full-time job, so he's focusing fully on fighting. So he's another guy to look out for. I mean, obviously Adam Asenza, always an exciting guy, a veteran of fighting in this province.
Sure. 17 fights under his belt.
Yeah, and fighting Cody Pfister.
I know.
Another guy fighting a UFC level opponent. Like, Adam is arguably one of the most exciting guys you're ever going to come see. Like, he prides himself on putting on a show, and he always does. Like, whether he wins or whether he loses, it's an exciting fight. It's a fun fight.
Yeah. I think the BTC card I went to, he actually lost that fight, but it was a great fight. It was probably the one that I remember the most. In terms of, I love that you guys also sprinkle, like, you got Jesse Ronson, you got Cody Pfister. Those are probably the most recognizable names to a casual MMA fan, right? But then you guys fill out the rest of the card with up-and-coming talent, which is much needed. Like, I think most of these guys have less than 3 fights, actually, until you hit the Chris Allard fight. I'm not sure how up-to-date this top MMA news card is. I'm not sure if you can confirm this or not for me, but there might be some fights on here that shouldn't be on there. But Asenza versus Cody Pfister, great fight for him in terms of actually building up his name. Gabe Sagman is another guy that's been around for a minute too. At least once I got into the game, that's another name that I was hearing. James Clark, haven't really heard about that kid before. What can you tell me about him?
James Clark's our flyweight champion.
Yeah. Won
the belt at BTC 6. He's now 2-0 in BTC. This is a guy that fought the toughest of the tough guys wins with TKO. At one point, this guy's record was 1-3, and you'd think, oh, he's not really worth the time, but fought his way through it. It talks a big game, like one of the most exciting guys I've ever seen talk.
Yeah.
Like he talks the talk, it can walk the walk. Represented Team Canada out in Thailand in this like MMA type style Olympic level thing that he did. So he's 4-3 now, but 2-0 with BTC. Just a back and forth fight that he had with Dave Henry. He's sensational. Like he's someone to really keep your eyes on as well, because not only what he does in the cage, but he's like a personality as well. And
he seems like it was just his Tapology picture alone. He's holding up the belt.
Super nice guy. I had a good little chat with him after he won our flyweight title, but like he's such a personality. Gave great pre-fight interview with us when obviously this is a guy that looked, you're cutting to 125. Like you just want to get out of there after you've weighed in.
Yeah.
But like took the time, spoke with us, and puts on a show. And that's our, like, normally BTC cards will have 2 or 3 title fights. This is our only title fight at BTC 9. And I think it's one that you're going to look out and enjoy, because James on his social media put like, oh, this guy's talking a little smack to me and what have you.
We're going to have some fire going into it.
So James is trying to spice it up a little bit, which I like, because Gabe Sagman's a tough guy, but I'm excited to see what both guys bring to the table.
If he's going to be nicknaming himself the Suplex Kid.
Oh, there are suplexes.
Okay.
That's not just for show. There are suplexes.
Interesting. I'm excited to see this guy compete, man. Like, this is actually the first time I've actually heard about him. And that's one thing that I'm kind of like hating myself for, is the fact that I'm not into the regional scene as much as I used to be, but I'm definitely getting back into the foray now. I want to hit up every BTC show card, every PFC card. I want to hit all the Z Promotions. Thankfully, they're coming back. When we used to do SFS at Hamilton Place Theater, I don't know if you ever went out to one of those cards, but those were fun as hell. Before you did BTC, did you ever go to any regional shows?
I never went to any of the regional shows. Like the closest, I guess, going to a regional show was watching a Score Fighting Series card on the Score or what have you. But I mean, that theater in Hamilton looks really nice.
It was a very cool setup. Like at first I'm like, a theater, like with the opera setup and all that, but they did it very well. Like the sound carries and pretty much every seat was a great seat. Like they had like the what is it, the mezzanine, the higher levels. Perfectly, you can see right into the cage, and then they had the 2 monitors on the side too, so people were able to see that way too. I'm excited to see is this the first show at the Odd?
Yep.
For BTC?
Yeah. First pro MMA show ever to hit Kitchener as well. Kitchener's had a lot of amateur shows at a couple nightclubs, and
I've actually been to one. I think Argus fought at one of those, and I went out for that.
And then one at like Binghamton's, which is a big like event area.
Yeah.
But this is the first pro MMA show in Kitchener, and you're running in like the building everyone like associates Kitchener with, where the Rangers play. It's a 70-year-old building, but it's had so much history in it, and now BTC gets to add their name to that history.
Tell me about your experience with the Rangers. How is it calling like
hockey?
Hockey.
Oh well,
is that What'd you say? That was like one of your first loves in terms of sports?
Sports wise, yes. I mean, I think every Canadian kid really grows up. It's like put in
even
there.
Me to a certain extent.
Yeah, it's like you kind of just grow up with it, and like I always wanted to be a part. Somehow do that, and that's exactly what ended up happening. Working your way through, like calling a lot of university hockey, calling both Laurier, Waterloo games, both men's and women's, and then doing most of the Ranger stuff I used to do was just like, so if they were playing in the States, so a Saginaw or a Flint, we'd have to take their feed. So when they would do their commercials, it'd just come to me and I'd be like talking about the game, which I loved. How
long are you sitting there doing that then? Because then you're doing play-by-play and then you're doing
So that one, you're just like, you're watching the game. They have their team do the game.
Oh, okay.
So then you just cut back to us for the commercials, because we can't air like Saginaw University or whatever in the Waterloo region. So I'd just be out there like breaking down the game, and most of the time I do it by myself, because people be like, I can't make it out or whatever, because they want to just be at the event or whatever. But
what was the setup though? Like, are you just chilling on a couch watching the game?
It's literally like just a table, and like I'm sitting in a chair, mic'd up, talking
watching the game, and then when they go to the commercial,
or like the 10-minute mark where they have to go to the commercial, come back to me. It's like, oh, it was a good first 10 minutes.
How long were those like stretches though? Like 2 minutes, 3 minute stretches that you're talking?
Yeah, a little bit. And it's like, oh, we got to throw it back to the game awkwardly. But like the coolest thing for me was like, you don't know how many people are really watching.
Yeah.
Or who's watching.
Exactly.
So I did a game. It was Flint. So Kitchener played Flint. Kitchener won the game. And I go to I get home and I look at my phone and there's a DM from Bob McKenzie.
Oh, wow.
Great job.
Sportsnet.
TSN.
Sorry, what am I talking about? TSN legend.
Like, great job. doing the game, Flint, and I was like, what? Bob's son, Mike, is the general manager and now interim head coach of the Kitchener Rangers, but you never know who's watching these games.
No idea.
Like, you literally just think you're just talking to a camera and like a couple diehard Ranger fans.
Yeah.
But, you know, the eyes of hockey is watching your game, and like to get a compliment like that was the hugest thing for me.
That's how I feel about like doing these podcasts. I have no idea who the fuck's gonna see this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you might just get this random message where you're like, great shit. Or even on Twitter, I always get like a great job with Cody or a great job with Z. Great. I'm like, holy fuck. Like, I can't believe like you watched this.
Yeah.
What the hell? What for yourself personally, what are your goals? Stick with hockey, play-by-play?
I mean, honestly,
MMA?
we'll just see where. Like, I'd love to do MMA full time.
Yeah.
Like, it's a passion of mine.
Do you rate one above the other though in terms of what you would like? What do you dream to do?
I always dreamt of doing like fighting type stuff.
Okay.
Because I think every kid in this country, if they're into broadcasting, you just want to do hockey. And a lot of people have told me that I just want to do hockey. Like, they had no interest in any other sport. Like, I was like, the first thing I ever did on air was roller derby because it was an opportunity. So I just took it. And then, like, you never know where it's
How much did you know about roller derby before that though?
Zero.
Wow. That's a true pro right
But
there.
I was the one just doing the interviews.
Yeah.
So it was like, instead of like Beth Smith, it was like wrestling names. So I just treated it like wrestling. So that was at least fun for me. But then it takes off. You're doing soccer, you're doing baseball, you're doing football, hockey.
Damn.
And then like if you make yourself a wide array of stuff, I think that's a key to success for anyone that wants to get in. Don't just leave yourself one door. Like
Touché.
there's too many doors to be open in this.
Because it is almost a skill that you are able to translate to other sports. But my question in terms of translating into different sports, how technical do you actually get? Like, I know you're doing play-by-play, and which is mainly just talking about what you're seeing.
Yes.
And then you normally have a color guy as well that's doing the
Josh
technical.
Hill, so
right? Well, yeah, that too. But I mean, even with hockey as well. You have a color guy that
for
normally
me
does it?
with the Rangers, I'm the one being the color guy. So
Okay.
I'm not super like what have you, but what I see on the screen, I can pretty much narrate or I know enough about hockey to do. But like with MMA, I'm happy on play-by-play because I have Josh Hill here.
Yeah, break down the actual X's and
a guy
O's.
that's been in the cage like 19 times.
Yeah.
And is one of the highest level dudes out there. And he's not only like obviously knowledgeable, but he's an excellent broadcaster himself.
He speaks well too.
He speaks very well. Like
Yeah.
if Josh wanted to retire today, I think he'd have a great career on TV doing something for TSN, what have you.
Just going back to the hockey thing, do you actually like, are you calling it like this is the? I don't even know how you call hockey plays. Like, I'm just saying like basketball. Is he running the zone or is he the 2-3? Are you doing that type of shit?
You just like a lot of he's skating up on the wing here. It's
Okay.
a lot of you're just like pass the puck, gets a chance, and then if there's a big chance in front, you get a little excited.
Yeah.
If there's a big save, you get excited. I mean, it's pretty much like if you watch them, it's a lot of moving the puck, and then the exciting stuff you get excited for.
Exactly.
The stuff you don't need to get excited for, you don't get excited for.
But that's what you're trying to bring to the broadcast though, is like the energy.
Yeah.
And just describing exactly what's happening. And then getting back to the MMA broadcasting aspect of it, since you started doing the play-by-play, do you find yourself wanting to learn more about it, like the sport itself, technical, the techniques?
I mean, sure. The
version
more
of it?
you involve, the better you
Yeah.
are. The more understanding of certain things you are. I mean, I find myself getting involved with it, watching more MMA, but like listening to the guys
Yeah.
calling it.
Yeah.
Because then you're just like a John Anik. Like John's arguably the best guy right now.
I am the biggest John Anik fanboy. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, like
I love
John's
that guy.
arguably the best right now. A
Yeah.
super nice guy as well.
Awesome.
Like you just watch as well. He'll post like how he like preps. I think that's a huge thing.
I love that he does that.
It's huge for me because it's like, sure, you can put certain things down, but how does he prep? What does he do? Because when you're talking about a guy, like, sure, their record's great and everything, but you try to get a little bit of their personality.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do in the pre-fight interviews. Try to find something that's interesting.
You want to paint a picture for these guys.
Yeah, exactly. Or something
of these guys,
or
sorry.
something that like someone that's not a big MMA fan, if they're walking by the TV and they hear something that may catch their ear that they can relate to, then
Yeah.
I'll stick around and watch this fight.
What is your process before doing a show? You say you do fighter interviews, so you're sitting
So we
down
do
there-
that.
talking with them for.
So we do pre-fights, so they weigh in, and then obviously we let them do their stuff with the commission because that's top priority.
Yeah, for sure.
So then after they see the doctor, they come to us. We do a little bit of a pre-fight interview. Their thoughts on the fight, what like their strategy a little bit is, and try to get some certain like personal information from them.
Sorry, is this in front of like a camera or something? You guys are just shooting the shit.
It's just
talking.
A lot of talking. We don't film that type of stuff, which we don't need to, and I don't think they really want to see a camera in their face after cutting the weight.
True.
So that's
what Score Fighting Series used to do though. Yeah. After they did like the weight. Oh, actually, you know what? I lied. During fight week, they would have these guys come to the room. They would tape it all, and Robin would ask them all the questions, or whoever it was asked them all the questions, and that's how they get their information. But I think it's better the way you guys are doing it. Just shoot the shit, talk, get to know a little bit more about these guys. Yeah,
so we do that, and then there's a lot of prep work beforehand. So you're watching their old fights. Yeah, if it's with this, it's kind of hard because some guys are making their debut and their fight isn't filmed. So you just have to kind of. That's why the pre-fight interview to me is huge. Yeah, because you can look at a Tapology record. But it's better to just talk to someone about their record or their fighting style or what have you. Mm-hmm. You get to know them a little bit too. Yeah. Because you could be in there. Obviously, those records are not 100% correct all the time. So there's wrong information you could be putting out there about them. So you don't want to do that. But yeah, it's a lot of watching their fights and stuff. Like we had a couple guys that fought in TKO on our last card. So, I mean, at least that's on Fight Pass, easy accessible. And obviously, a lot of these guys still have fought a lot on BTC. So you've called some of their fights and you know them a little bit. So that's pretty much a lot of what the work is, and just I more want to just find a little bit of the personal side of the person.
Yeah. Holding down a 9 to 5 while doing all this has got to be challenging as hell. So how far in advance do you normally start doing your research for these fights? Because like BTC just started announcing their matchups less than 3-4 weeks ago, right? A
couple weeks ago, yeah. And end of January we filmed, and then they had a quick turnaround and just pumping those videos out. Yeah. Shout out to Patrick. He's the video guy.
Yeah.
Who does a lot of stuff. Does a lot of amazing work for the company. Like all the graphics, all the videos. That's him.
It looks clean, man.
Yeah, that's him.
It looks really good.
He's one of the most talented people I've ever met.
For sure.
So I like the first time I met him, I was like, where'd you go to school? He's like, I learned this all myself on YouTube. And I was like, well, you saved yourself thousands of dollars. You never had to go to school. Yeah. But like you have insane attention to detail. You learn things quick and put out great content.
That's what catches people though. When you put out that free stuff, that quick 2-minute video or whatever it is, that's what's going to catch them. Like I watched the one they did with Urgus and his lead up to his fight, and it was great. Like they had great shots of the gym, other trainers, and they asked the correct people about Urgus, and they were able to give good answers. So that one thing is massive. Like to push that and get it out to social media, I think is great. But in terms of yourself, the research itself, once the fight gets announced or once you hear rumblings of the fights that are going to be booked?
Once it's pretty much official, like, because things can change, right? Yeah. Like, I've heard certain things about this card, and then I was like, don't want to get your hopes up or saw a blueprint, but nothing's official yet. Yeah. So you don't want to start doing that prep. Once it's official, then I'll go to work and I, start writing your little things down. I like to do a lot of, like, go over and, like, maybe like a final, like a cram type thing towards the end. Like I'll do my research ahead of time for sure. But once you're like in that fight week mode, like you're starting to feel it a little bit more. You're getting into the zone, watching a lot of the fights. And that's when I really get into it. Like I went up to Niagara and was in my hotel room. Like, I don't really want to go to the falls, and I got a big card to fill. So I'm just going to put a lot of research in on these guys. Like I had seen a lot of them fight before, but just doing more work on that. And I'm just trying to get more well-rounded, because the last one we had before BTC 8, BTC 7, like had a lot of fights, unfortunately, fall out. Just a 5-fight card. They're all first round finishes. Like great card. Yeah. But like you don't really, you do well, but like I felt like could have done a lot better. But I mean, unfortunately, the fights were so short, you couldn't expand it. So like I was like, good thing I did a lot more prep and made myself a lot better and ready for this, because that was a card that had a lot of fights that went to decision. You're able to stretch things out a little bit more. That's another thing. You need that, like, at least 15 to 18 minutes, however long the fights normally last. You need at least that amount of content to fill. Like, Josh Hill can only do so much. Yeah. You know what I mean? He can only break down a single leg so many times. Yeah, right? Exactly. It comes back to you in terms of setting it up. Like, John Anik does it great, in my opinion. I see that he has those cards. Yeah. Right? So is that what you do? Yeah. I don't do cards. I feel like you like screenshot it and just like quickly look at it. Like, okay, let me see this. I'm trying to see what he's putting down there, because like he's got great information, great stats. So I try to, like, that was a lot of what I tried to add the last time. It's like he's won this from this many times on, like this fight win streak, and like if a fighter has then lost, that's his first loss since blank. Like you're trying to like.
So do you have a card or something? Or you have a piece of paper in front of you? How do you do it?
I do a lot on my computer. I bring my computer with me, so I have that with me because, like, obviously you should probably print this out, but I'm just so a part of the digital age and just bring my laptop with me.
Yeah,
so
I know some people like bring out tablets and stuff, but you got your like legit laptop out there, right? And also in terms of preparing yourself. Actually, one thing I did want to say, like that fight card that you said had 5 fights on it, all of them were quick finishes, right? At least you guys aren't like, you have a time slot that you need to fill, right? Like John Anik and these guys, they know that they're going to be on ESPN from 8 to 10 before the main card. And if all 4 of those fights go to a quick finish, you need material to fill that up. But luckily for you, you guys are bang, bang, bang with their fights, right? There isn't much time in between the fights.
We had 2 fights, then we had an intermission, then a fight, then we had another intermission.
What do you guys do for the intermission? Do you guys actually talk throughout the broadcast?
No, we just go to like some ads and stuff, or just throw some of the stuff we've done production wise to just put on there for the viewer at home. But like that was an unfortunate incident. Like, it's MMA, fights fall out, right? Yeah. But I heard people were like, they wanted their money back because the card was over so fast. I'm like, if this was a UFC show with a main card of 5 fights, 5 first-round finishes, show of the year is essentially what they're saying. Easily. But like, because it's local and you wanted to be there longer, it was like, man, you can't control this.
The funniest thing anybody ever said to me was, I went down for Conor and Aldo to Vegas. And they're like, aren't you just pissed off it was only 13 seconds? I'm like, no, motherfucker, there was 13 fights. There's 12 fights that night. I'm not there just for that fight, 13 seconds. And sure, even if it was 10 seconds, to be there for that moment of seeing Conor McGregor knock him out in 10 seconds is something that you're going to be able to tell people for years and years and years, right?
Yeah.
That's an experience that not a lot of people got to see. Maybe 15,000 people. It was at MGM, so it was a smaller arena, right? How would you say that your style of play-by-play has transformed since you started? You said BTC 6 was your first one?
BTC 6 was my first one.
Play-by-play.
Yeah, play-by-play, yeah.
So over the last 2, I guess that's 3 events now, 6, 7, and 8 that you've done. Do you feel like you've changed in a way, positive, negative, whatever it is?
I think you just get more comfortable calling the sport because, sure, there's one thing you call an amateur show, but then you're off calling MMA for pretty much 2 years. Like, this is a different sport, a different animal compared to what you're normally used to of hockey, basketball, football. Like there's a lot more going into it. There's a time, but it can be fast paced. It can be real slow, grinding type of a fight. So you learn to just, I guess, improve in terms of how you call a fight and certain things and just learning a little bit more about the fighters and like what to ask. You get more comfortable around these guys as well. So you just
do you do in cage interviews?
Josh,
after?
I let Josh do that one. Yeah,
you're probably just like, Josh, this is on you, brother. He probably is a little bit more comfortable in there anyway because he has that the fighter mentality. He knows what these guys have just been through, with the correct questions to ask, or there's certain things that happen in the fight that he wants to follow up on. Right?
He's just perfect with it, and like the trend UFC wise, at least, is let the fighter be the one that
DC does it.
DC does it. Bisping does it.
Yeah.
Like Brian Stan used to do it.
Oh, I miss Brian Stan, dude. Greatest living American.
Yeah. Like I'm like, Josh is perfect for this.
Yeah.
It's tough as well because like if I'm doing it, I got to get back, rush back, and then there's gonna be a little bit of dead air. Or I mean, Josh could obviously fill in for that little bit, but still,
I think you're more tuned for that though. Like in terms of being able to fill that time during that exchange period. Is there something that you want to improve?
I think you just want to get.
You can always improve.
Yeah.
But is there something specific that you're like, I feel like this is something that may be lacking in my expertise? Is there something that you want to improve on?
I think you just want to get better each time out, honestly. It's like overall, like it was a good time. I think I did well, but there's always room to grow in certain aspects, like certain techniques and learning certain things. Like sometimes you'll have a slip of the tongue and then you'll just think about, damn, I kept saying that.
I know.
And that'll stick in you for a little bit. But like, I know I'm getting better at like, gotta have amnesia. You say it, move on. And then people forget about it. Like if you kind of dwell on that a little bit, it affects your performance overall. Like,
easily.
Same with anything for like these athletes or any athlete. If you think of the one bad thing that just happened, it's gonna not go well for you.
Yeah, because you're just sticking.
You're just
on
stuck on it. Yeah.
I felt like that happened to me the first time I started doing these like podcasts. Like even like the first thing I ever started doing was breaking down upcoming cards, because my main thing that I started with was handicapping MMA, right? So I was like breaking down all these full UFC cards, and I'm not the type of guy that was going out there and like recording for 10 minutes and then starting up on a fight and then coming back and doing another 10 minutes. I do all my shit in one go. I don't want to sit back and have to edit all this shit. I just want to sit down, record one thing, edit in the little boxes with all the fighter records and their names and the odds and all that stuff. That's all I want to do. I don't want to cut and paste and all that type of shit. So when I saw my first ever couple episodes that I did, and I saw all like the Freudian slips and like the hesitating to say certain things and messing up certain phrases, I like hated myself. But the one thing I didn't really see was the backlash of it in the comments or in other people saying that, because they forget about it too. They know what you're trying to say and they understand that you're going to have a slip up every now and then. John Anik has slip ups every now and then. You know what I mean? And he's the best at the game.
It's bound to happen, right? Like nothing is going to be perfect. And one of the things I did, or at least have gotten better at, is like, this is an industry you're going to get criticized. So take constructive criticism. Yeah. So because BTC puts all their fights on YouTube, so I took like some of the fights that I wanted to hear people's opinions on. So I put the link in. I'm in a fight type group on Facebook. Yeah. So with some people that I know are like connected with some good names. So I let everyone have their thoughts on it, and then there's positive and negatives, and then there's just certain things to work on. Like one of my is like using a certain word over and over again. And it's like, you don't know you're doing it. No. It's like a bridge word, or like I forget what mine would, I have one, but I don't notice it until I hear it back. Yeah. But he's like, I use one word all the time too, but maybe just try to tone that down. I'm like, done. And then I notice I'm not using that word as much. You don't notice it until somebody points it out though. Yeah, exactly. But that's what you need. You need someone there, or else you're never going to get better. With this podcast I've been doing with bringing in studio guests, I hate listening to myself, but I force myself to listen to the podcast afterwards to kind of see where I can improve as well. One thing that I noticed in my first couple episodes was that I kept interrupting people, and I hate doing that. I want them to finish their thought. Like I want to jump in and I want to, add more fuel to the fire of this conversation that we're having and this exchange that we're having, but let the other person complete their thought. You know what I mean? And then go on from there. I feel like I still do it every now and then, but I am consciously trying not to do that. And I feel like that's something that you might be doing as well, is when you're sitting in that booth, you're like, okay, I know that I say this word quite often. I'm going to make sure that I don't do it this time. Yeah, that's a big one too, is where you feel like you're interrupting someone, especially like if you're calling a fight and someone gets clipped and you're just like, someone's going in for the kill, looking for the finish. It's like both Josh and I are out there like, oh, he's hurt, whatever. It's like we're both talking over each other a little bit. It's bound to happen. Everyone's excited about it, but you're just trying not to overtalk him because he's been in the cage. He knows both ends of what's going on in that situation, and you're just trying to paint the picture of what's going on. Exactly. I think people are more forgiving of talking over in those aspects when something dramatic happens, right? Like I love it when Joe Rogan's losing his shit and then John Anik's trying to explain what exactly is happening, right? I love when that happens. It's natural, it's organic, it's genuine. That's why I enjoy watching John Anik do his thing. And I think Anik is honestly one of the best things that's happened to the UFC since letting Mike Goldberg go, because you can truly see the differences, right? Like I'm listening to Mike Goldberg now on Bellator and I'm like, praise Jeebus for John Anik. Yeah, I mean, just you can see it from the amount of work that he puts into it. For me, it feels like Mike Goldberg just steps in there, reads up on the Wikipedia. This guy's from fucking Flint, Michigan, wrestled at this high school. That's it. You know what I mean? Like you could see the lack of work that he's putting into it. I think Goldberg obviously has a good place in MMA. I mean, his "it is all over" is like one of the best catchphrases anyone's ever had. Not just MMA, but like in sports. Like when a big fight or a big knockout happens, you hear that. That's great. But John obviously puts a lot of work, and he's done a lot of work to get where he is. Like easily, ESPN back in the day, MMA Live, him and Kenny, which you had to like have a video subscription to on iTunes back in the day. Jeez. And that was like taking up your whole hard drive just to get an episode to watch. And then obviously we did the first season of Bellator and then went over to the UFC now. And they gave him all the smaller shows and he works his way up, and one of the best right now in the business, and not just MMA, but sports.
By far. Like you feel the passion in his voice when he's talking about these fighters too. And somebody told me that it just sounds a little bit too generic. I'm like, no, he's very efficient with his words. Do you listen to his podcast?
I don't listen to his podcast, unfortunately.
It's so weird hearing him swear. Because sometimes he swears in it and you're just like, oh shit. But he's very efficient with the swearing too. Like he's just not like fuck. Like he drops it maybe once every 20 minutes, every 30 minutes or something when it's really required. And I feel like that's what he translated into his actual commentary. And when the finishes happen, like his genuine, the one thing that I love that they release is the camera view of the commentating booth.
Yeah.
Like when you see John Anik trying to hold it together, but still like losing his mind, probably the best.
Yeah, that's what I hope we can get that for the future.
That'll be
BTC.
great. I think they're great. Like it's cool little action shots like that too, right? I think that's awesome. John Gooden, I believe, is the European one, right?
He
does a great job too.
I didn't even know he fought.
He fought.
He posted on Twitter like, here's some of my amateur style fights.
He might still be on Tapology, but
I'm like, I had no idea you fought. Like
I've seen like his he's not on there. John Gooden.
Yeah, he's excellent though too.
I seen on his Instagram he's like training regularly too. Anik, one thing that he's in Boca Raton, right? So one thing that he's always saying is Pahumpa from American Top Team is always like begging him to come out and train and do jiu-jitsu. He's like, I have my gi, but I just never freaking put it on. Pahumpa's always on my ass trying to train with these guys. And who's the other guy there? Brendan Fitzgerald.
Brennan is
I think he's amazing too.
Brennan's also like coming from the sports world too. Like he did a lot of stuff, I think, on NFL Network, and obviously he's either a fan because UFC doesn't just take people on.
Yeah.
So he worked himself and just keeps getting those gigs. And I think Brennan's excellent as well. Him and Bisping have some excellent.
They have a great chemistry. Oh yeah,
great chemistry especially on the Contender series. Like I love hearing him call a fight, and it makes you better hearing someone really good. Like you just want to get to that level.
They had another guy that came over from WWE, right?
They had Todd Grisham for a little bit. Yeah. He's now with Glory Kickboxing.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And does some stuff on DAZN as well.
Mm-hmm. I've seen, I think they tested him out for like a couple shows.
He called Gaethje Johnson, which I'm like, hey, the one debut card for you. You have this amazing fight that you get to call.
Exactly. Like if anybody was going to hop on and be a fan of this guy, it was probably for calling that fight, right? It didn't seem like it worked out too much for him. In terms of the play-by-play guys, I love DC. Or not play-by-play, color, sorry. I love DC. I think he's the best that the UFC currently has in terms of fighters. I love Rogan. I'm a Rogan shill. You know what I mean? Like I loved him since freaking even before the UFC, even before I knew he was a commentator. But I just love his like raw, genuine enthusiasm for the sport. But then DC is just like a close second for me. Is there anybody else that you kind of like?
I'm loving Bisping right now.
Yeah,
like Bisping's work as a commentator is like
he's getting better.
I think he's excellent right now. Like he's maybe top 2. I like Dominic Cruz as well, but I think for Bisping, like everyone just hated him as a fighter. It's really changed a lot of people's perspective on him. Like this guy knows about fighting. He on podcasts tells great stories, but he tells great stories. He's very honest too, which is what you want. You want those commentators, those color guys to be very honest and open, especially at that level for the UFC. Like he knows what it takes to be a champion, and you may not like what he has to say, but in the long run, maybe you'll get better if you listen to what he has to say.
It's kind of good that he has this, like, coming off of that career that he's had, right? DC is still obviously fighting. I think he has one fight left, and he's probably going to stick with this full-time, too. Let's bring it back to you, though. You want to obviously keep doing BTC moving forward.
Yes, for sure. I love BTC.
Right? Those guys are awesome.
Excellent people.
Can't say anything bad about them. If you were to get another gig within the MMA industry to do play-by-play, is that something that you would look at?
I mean, if there was an opportunity, I mean, I wouldn't.
Because there's no exclusivity with BTC, right? I'm sure they would be very happy for you to continue to gain experience and garner experience.
My thing for me is like if there was 2 MMA shows and it was like BTC and someone else, I'm taking BTC. They've been too loyal to me, and I just love everything about them. I'd love to do more MMA, but I mean, it's like everyone else kind of has their own set of guys right now and stuff like that, which is fine. Have your own crew, but I'd love to, do a show out east or something. Like I'd love to travel to make this a living. Like that's a big thing for me. Like traveling is part of the reasons you want to get into broadcasting. Cool places, and then like you're living your dream basically. That's one of the goals. Like sure, like even for BTC, it's like I'm going to Ottawa, I'm going to Niagara. Like I don't need to take a plane anywhere, but I'm traveling, doing something I love for a company that I love.
I was kind of the same way with Score Fighting Series when we would do shows in like Sarnia.
Yeah.
Right? I'm like, I would never go to Sarnia, but here's my excuse.
Yeah.
And they pay for everything too, which is freaking great too, right? You're just going out there, having a good time, trying to just do your part of the show. When you were first starting off with play-by-play, you were already a fan of the UFC, correct?
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Was it even a thought in your mind that you would be calling fights however many years later?
I mean, it was always a dream, but it's like you never know how things work out. And then, BTC, they reached out to me. They liked my calls for university basketball.
That's how they found you.
Yeah. Well, so last year, Laurier's men's team had a pretty like surprisingly successful season. So we had 2 playoff games. They won their division for the first time in like 50 years or something like that. So
talk about timing.
Exactly.
Right?
Timing is everything for anything.
It's insane.
But like, I was just putting my clips up for the basketball games because I was like, I wish I had a cool picture of myself here. But Laurier, bless them, they put their stuff up there. So it was like there was a big dunk in the game against McMaster. And then they reached out to me. It's like, would you be interested in doing MMA? And I was like, absolutely. And then the next game, which was the OUA semifinal, like our 6'9" guy dunked on Ryerson's 7'1" guy. And it was like, I just like lost it on that call. And then they just showed that around. It's like, look, when exciting things happen, you get excited.
Yeah.
And, it just adds something to it. And I'm very appreciative. And, that's the one positive of social media, because it can be a very nasty place, but you never know who's watching, like I said before. And, someone will just reach out to you and there's an opportunity and then another door opens and you gotta take it. You can't say no in this industry.
Did you know anybody on the regional scene at that point in time before any?
Yeah, I was following definitely the regional scene then. Like I'd covered BTC 3 and 5, and then they were getting ready to start up doing making their fight announcements for BTC 6 in Burlington. So that's when I really got all in, and it was just like things took off. Covering
the regional scene in what capacity?
So my one friend had a website. It was more on boxing. But I mean, a regional card, you're going to go out there and cover it. So I asked him, like, can I just come? Like, we'll do some video content, do some video interviews for you, put them on YouTube. He's like, sure, whatever. And then I was there. We did some interviews, with, Siri, Adam Asenza. Urgus was one of the guys I interviewed. Love him. Fought on that card. And then I wanted to go to BTC 5, but I was like, I don't know how I'm going to cover. I don't have a right to get a press pass. So I messaged Rob. I'm like, how can I cover this card? He's like, message the guys from Top MMA News, because they need the content, but they're out in Alberta. They're not going to fly out for it. So I was like, I'll cover it.
And those guys.
So I covered that card for them in Windsor, and then things worked out where I got to do play-by-play.
I think the BTC card at the convention center that I went to with Todd and Anastasia, who was it? I think it was Keith or it was Big Win. Both of them, they're like, we don't have anybody down there covering it. Do you mind just giving us the not play-by-play, but the results?
The results.
Like, hell yeah.
Yeah, of course.
So I was like Twitter DMing him after every fight, trying to listen intently in terms of, okay, they won at 3 minutes and 12 seconds or whatever it was, trying to hook them up with that stuff. I actually have Big Win coming in next week. He's out in Ottawa. But he's coming down for like some sort of conference for his work. But he is like super excited to come on the show, and I can't wait to talk to that guy. This whole show, it's called Combatosseurs, but it's for any and everybody that's been around the combat sports world in any capacity, whether it's play-by-play, whether it's gambling, whether it's a fighter, you know what I mean? Whether it's a coach, whoever it is. But Big Win is one that I've always wanted, strictly because of how long he's been around the game, how many experiences he's had. And then Top MMA News is like the staple MMA website in Canada. You know what I mean?
I remember Keith like putting all that stuff out. I was like, man, I'd love to just be the videographer for some sort of things like that. Like, but I obviously, the stuff around here kind of died down by that point, but I'd love to just do that. Like, he's going out west, he's going out east, whatever, covering all these shows, and I'm like,
it's a little community of its own too. Top MMA News, like the comments section is just, they just have their guys there. Like, I used to be kind of active on it when I was back in the regional scene, but now it's just like they have their main guys that are always going to be giving people shit or talking shit about a fighter or whatever it is. You hear about so much like weird stuff on that, but those are the guys that actually know what the hell is going on. I love the fact that me and you get to see a different side of these fighters that most viewers don't get to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
That's my favorite part about being in this industry, is seeing these guys as just as human beings, not seeing these guys just in the cage.
I think that's the biggest thing is like everyone thinks MMA fighters are like just Neanderthals and, you know, we're failures in school.
Yeah.
It's like we had a guy on BTC 7 that's a mechanical engineer by trade that won by heel hook in his pro debut.
Who was that? Do you remember? BTC 7?
BTC 7. Oh my God, his name is escaping me. I just saw him last weekend, a couple weekends ago at their awards banquet. Colton Boxall. Mechanical engineer by trade.
Interesting.
And he just comes out of nowhere
and just heel hooks motherfucker.
And just heel hooks Jeremiah Curtright. And he's a mechanical engineer. Like, you wouldn't think engineers are fighters, but it just shows like how diverse this sport is. Like, yeah, now everyone's really like growing up learning everything, but you got people still coming in from, you know, I was a basketball player, I was a football player, I was an amateur wrestler, I'm an engineer and I want to fight. It's like that to me with the Stephen A. Smith stuff is like the negative side of MMA. Like, to me, MMA is for everyone. Easily. I love MMA as much as anyone, but like my only complaint with him was like he was a little too harsh on Cowboy Cerrone. But like everyone's allowed to have a take on this sport, especially a card of that magnitude with a Conor McGregor on it. But I think to me this sport's for everyone, and if we just start bashing everyone, like no one will want to. Not only no one will want to watch it, no one will talk about it, and then it's just in the negative side. And I think this sport's too great to have that kind of behavior.
Like, we battled so much to get it to where it is now.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So to even have a guy like Stephen A. Smith covering it, we should kind of be thankful in a certain sense. I'm not defending him or anything like that, but you know what he is known for. He's known for those outrageous takes. That's why he's getting paid millions of dollars to be on ESPN or wherever the hell it is, right?
Yep, absolutely.
He's saying controversial shit.
Exactly. It's like, I mean, it goes to show as well how invested ESPN is with the UFC. Like, they're on ESPN Plus. They've got all these subscribers now. It's Conor McGregor's fight, and they have their top media personality at the event to pretty much cover that one fight. But you want that for the growth of your sport. Mm-hmm. Like, this sport's grown so much. You want more growth for it. There's always room to improve.
For me, I think the when I really saw the ESPN love was the NBA Christmas games.
Oh yeah.
Because that's when they're promoting Conor and Cowboy. You would see it like where the scores table is. You would see all the commercials for it, and I'm like, holy shit! Like, it's actually going up that extra level. Like, I thought Fox Sports was going to be the biggest it was going to get. Then when they got that ESPN deal, I'm like, okay, great that they got that deal. But let's see how they actually spin it. Is ESPN actually going to invest time into this, invest money into it, invest advertising time to it? And they are. They're killing it. Like, I think they are actually doing a legitimate good thing for the sport. The ESPN Plus thing, in terms of just having the pay-per-views on there, I think a little bit sketchy. And they're kind of moving away from Fight Pass a bit because they have ESPN Plus. We don't have ESPN Plus because we're in Canada, but I think the Americans feel a little bit more. What I heard initially was that they blacked out a lot of fights because it was available on ESPN Plus, so you'd have to go to ESPN Plus to actually see them. But from what I'm understanding now, after they did their latest update for Fight Pass, they fixed that, so everything's back on Fight Pass. But in my opinion, I think WWE is doing it the best.
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously you pay in the States $9.99, Canada $12.99 to get it on Rogers.
Steal.
Like, you're getting all the, like, you told me as a kid you're getting all the pay-per-views for $13.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, I would have thought you were a liar. Like,
remember back in the day we would get like all of our boys together and be like, yo, everybody chip in $5 and we'll get this pay-per-view.
Yeah.
I'll order it off my fucking bell box or whatever it is.
Or everyone has to chip in or whatever, or just jack up your parents' cable or whatever. But it's like, no, you're just paying for one specialty channel.
$12.
And you get everything.
Everything, yeah. With I'm not sure exactly how it works with like Raw and SmackDown. Is it like the next day that they release it on the network?
So I don't. They do, but like they're much later because they have a deal in the States exclusively with Hulu, and then it eventually comes to the network. Like NXT's the big thing, which was a network property solely. Now they're on USA Network on Wednesday nights. So they are now 48 hours after airing. Mm-hmm. So by Friday, it'll be on the network, which isn't, I mean, like, you got to wait 2 days if you're only on the network. Like, you can watch it head to head with AEW's show, but you have to use a legal means. I'd rather just wait for it to come up on the network. But like,
I think it should be a lot quicker of a turnaround then, unless they're doing replays.
Actually, I should say in Canada there is NXT on Sportsnet 360.
Okay.
Before SmackDown, but it's an hour version.
Oh,
so
so
they
it's
edit some
trimmed.
stuff out. So you kind of, for me, I'm like, you're paying for Rogers owns Sportsnet and has the rights to the network. May as well just wait for the thing to be uploaded.
Fight Pass does it, where they're literally like maybe 20 minutes after that portion of the fights are done, it's on Fight Pass right away. I think they should do that unless, again, like I was saying, unless they do replays on Sportsnet or other channels.
It's a lot to do with rights deals too, right? Like in Canada, it's Rogers, and they just switched in the UK to BT Sports from Sky. So they have agreements they have to honor there. But I mean, you pretty much everything else is on the network. Like you can wait 2 days. There's stuff to explore if you haven't explored. And I think the big thing for the network is just the original content they've put on, like those original documentaries they're putting out, or Steve Austin's podcast is now on there with some new.
I listened to it a couple times back in the day when he
But
first
he's got
came
like an
out with it.
exclusive series with WWE Network.
Oh, okay.
Like the first one they had was him and the Undertaker just talking. Like
My friend showed me a clip of that actually. It was so weird hearing Undertaker's actual voice though. That was like one of the first times I had actually ever heard it. And my friend like showed it to me first and he goes, "Who do you think that is?" I'm like, "I have no fucking idea." He goes, "It's Undertaker." I'm like, "What? Really? That's what he sounds like?" But continue.
So yeah, it's like it's all about original content.
Yeah.
And that's what Fight Pass to me was kind of lacking. Like the Contender series, great. I love that. That's my favorite thing. Like it gets me excited about
Tuesday night fights.
Yeah.
I'm in.
Exactly. Tuesday night fights, live fights for someone that could be the face of the UFC in a few years. You never know, right?
Easily.
But they only have like that. Like sure, you can stream like here's your CFFC or this random boxing card, but like you don't have to watch that.
No.
You need like when they were doing it was their 25th anniversary last year. Those original docs, I loved those.
That was pretty cool.
They were excellent, like on a wide variety of subjects, stuff you didn't even know about, or the where are they now for these fighters. Like
that was a 6 series as well.
They need more content like that. That's the one thing I think Fight Pass is lacking.
I don't really explore it that much. Like I mainly use it just to study up on fighters.
Yeah.
So I'm not so much for I personally, I don't really care about the original content, but I could see how it adds value to Fight Pass, obviously. And sure, with WWE Network, it's the same
streaming
thing.
service.
Yeah.
Like, look at Netflix. Like Netflix can buy all these old TV shows and movies, but Netflix puts one crime
Stranger Things.
Yeah, Stranger Things or one crime series that everyone's talking about. They're like, oh, maybe we should just do more of our own stuff where everyone feels the need to have us. And that's what they're all doing now. They're like, look at this show on Amazon Prime. Look at this show on Netflix.
Apple TV
Look
Plus
at this
as
stuff
well.
on Apple TV Plus. Look at this stuff on Crave. Like exclusive stuff. Now Crave's more like we have the rights to HBO.
Yeah, I only got a crave for the last season of Game of Thrones.
I love Crave. It's had such a turnaround.
Oh yeah,
for me, because like when they first came out with Crave, it was like that and Show Me with Rogers.
I remember Show Me.
So it was the dumbest thing ever. It was like, I'm a Rogers subscriber, but I can't get Crave because I'm not a Bell customer.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm trying to give you money to watch something, and you're like, no. I'm like, okay, why would like that makes no sense.
Yeah, sell it separately. Like
exactly, you get more subscribers. Like, and then Show Me was more too much like Netflix, and it's like, well, if I'm going to spend that and get original content, where Show Me's not going to give me anything, and then Rogers pulled the plug on that. Where Crave's, they had a whole like revamp of it. They have movies on it now, and like every premium channel in the States, like
the HBO thing,
HBO,
was great.
Showtime, Stars, like shows we
catalog ridiculous.
Shows we can't get here now they're on there, and that's the thing. You have to sell and make people give up their cable. Like there's a reason there.
All right, we're gonna end off on two things. First, what is if there's one fight that you've called on BTC that you can recommend to a viewer, which fight would it be? I'm putting you on the spot here. I know that.
One fight that I have called that I recommend for BTC viewers.
You may get back into the YouTube comments for this and be like, you know what? I actually meant this fight.
I would still
right now.
I would definitely say that still that Series CD Kevin Popowich Bastien fight. Like it's two up and coming guys.
Yeah.
One making his pro debut, and you wouldn't know that he's making his pro debut, how good he looked, and then you just see an unbelievable knockout that you weren't expecting. I would definitely say that one. There's a lot other fights. I definitely say Jazz's fight from BTC 8 where she fought Christina Ricker and just, ran through her in like just under 50 seconds.
And secondly, why should people in the GTA go to this Kitchener show?
You should go to this Kitchener show.
Be the salesman.
Well, obviously, if you are interested in this show, you love MMA, so you want to support MMA.
Yeah.
So if you're in the GTA, folks in the GTA, let me tell you something. Kitchener is not that far. People think Kitchener is like on Mars
in fucking Narnia or some shit.
It's like in Mars. Like I've been in Toronto and they're like, oh, the next time you come in from Kitchener, we'll pick you up from the airport. I'm like, it's not that far.
It's really not.
Kitchener is not far at all. It's one of the best buildings that BTC's ever run. And just look at this fight card.
I know.
Honestly, Adam Asenza versus Cody Pfister, Troy Lamson versus
Jesse
Ronson,
Ronson.
Series CD Mateo Vogel, like two up and comers at the lighter weights. This one's at 135, and the heavyweights. They're making their BTC debut here with Mike Mead and Ed Sponybogger. Like. That's some history that you get to see at BTC 9, and as well our title fight, James Clark, Gabe Sageman, two guys that look like they got a little bit of a beef between each other, and nothing sells more and gets it settled than inside the BTC cage.
Oh, I love that sale. I'm gonna like trim that out and just throw that up so people can actually go out there and get interested in this fight. I'm super happy that there's local MMA thriving. So I'm definitely going to be going out and supporting BTC. I'm going to be supporting PFC as well. Shout out to those guys too. I'll be having somebody from their side of things be coming in and doing something before their event as well. Kitchener, The Odd, February 29th. Tickets are available on their website.
Yep, on the website.
I think they range between 28 and 100 and something.
Yeah.
Based on where you're sitting, whatever.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yep.
Well, depending where you want to sit or how much you want to spend.
And then if you're not in the GTA area, where are you going to be able to see the fights?
I think we're going to announce a streaming thing, much like on their website. But I think other things could play out. So 100%, not 100%, but if you stay on the BTC social media, on especially their Instagram at BTC Fight, you will see a lot of content, a lot of information about not only where you can see the fight, but where the next upcoming shows will be. As that social media account, that Instagram account is very active with getting the fight fan informed about their fighters, what is happening, and what's coming up in the near future for BTC Fight.
Perfect. I think social media is actually where fight promotions can sell their product the best and make people care about it.
It's just amazing.
And BTC's killing it. Pat, shout out Pat.
Shout out Patrick. Like just this free little app you download and you can make so much growth of it, do so much for your promotion, yourself, whatever. And BTC's knocking it out of the park.
Easily. Yourself, is there anything that you want to plug for yourself?
I'll plug my Twitter, which is at jhagholm1, my Instagram, just at jhagholm. You can see all my stuff that I do for not just BTC, but university sports, the Kitchener Rangers. Honestly, and as well, I'm doing a lot of interviews with the MMA Chronicles, interviewing a lot of the up-and-coming fighters on the regional.
You just got a gig with the Scrap?
Yeah, I just got a gig with the Scrap, so some content will be coming up there. So a lot of work being put on, but, it's for the betterment of myself and with MMA, so I think that's a winning tag team. I'm
going to have all of his information in the description below, but I just wanted you guys to hear it from the horse's mouth. Jason, I appreciate you coming on, man. Yeah. I know you're not saying that Kitchener is that far or anything, but still, with the potential snowstorm that we got coming up in a couple hours or something, I really appreciate you making the trek out here. Make sure you guys check his shit out. Make sure you guys hit up BTC Fight Promotions 9 in Kitchener, February 29th. I'm going to be there. Rockstar Z's going to be there. He's going to be making the trip down from Barrie or something. He's going to come down here and we're going to fly or drive down to Kitchener to watch that. And then PFC as well. Make sure you guys check that out too. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Thanks for giving me a chance to spread the platform.
This won't be the only time you're on here. Don't worry about that.
To spread the love here for BTC 9. This is a huge event. I mean, for me personally, to run BTC in my hometown, I think is amazing. It's going to be a great card. Definitely want to go check out BTC 9 at the Odd, February 29th.
I don't think I should say anything after this. That's it. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you guys next week.